tonight?
Hi, my name is George Lega, and I own the property at 6299 Route 9 North, more commonly known as the Record Store. Just 4 questions, if you don't mind.
4.
4.
Wow.
They're quick, actually.
Doesn't matter. You can give all 4.
Obviously, on some of the media that you talked about, there was talk today of a resolution for the MGD Holdings donating the land to Howell. Now, I saw in your presentation that was false. I actually saw a resolution in a PDF, so can
There
you
was.
explain a little bit about that?
You know, I want to make sure that I get it factually correct. I think I know the answer, but I would feel much more comfortable having that answer come from our township attorney.
I can only tell you what I know because I started in 2009, and that resolution never came to fruition as of 2008 in December. Initially, and it's funny that you should even bring this up, the intent was to have the owner of the property donate the land. And then, for whatever reason, that was not going to work out for tax purposes, and then we were going to buy it for $50,000. Still considered a donation to some people. I don't think the taxing entity agreed. And I think the closing had to take place by the end of the year, and the timing didn't work out. So it was in part by error of MGD Holdings. You should also be aware that I spoke with the owner of the property recently who had no idea that this was even being entertained, this donation. So there's more than one person who are MGD Holdings. And I guess, unbeknownst to the person that I was speaking with recently, they had no idea that that was even a conversation that was taking place. So I think, had that actually happened, I don't think it would have happened, because he didn't have all of the right parties that had the ownership interest in that property.
I was mayor at the time. That's the first I ever heard of that.
I just met with the owner of the property, so I said, you were going to donate the land. He said, I don't know how that would even be possible, because you wouldn't have everybody to
We
agree
had to
to
get
it.
it done by December 31st, we were told.
But and that was
Back in 2008.
yes,
For tax purposes.
And
we
that's-
trying to donate us the land.
And that's why the resolution was drawn up, I
Yes.
guess, and
a
Absolutely.
resolution
So-
authorizing the execution or the amendment of an agreement to donate the land or to accept it.
Absolutely.
And
So-
the closing didn't take place, but, fast forward to a month ago when I recently met with the owners to find out what their intention is with the property, because I know there's a lot of speculation about what they're going to do.
Well, there's a lot of speculation about everything. So let me just tell you how, and I really appreciate you coming, because you had a question and you went to the right people and you asked the right question, and I hope you get the right answer. I can assure you that the people who posted that on that page today clearly know who owns that land, because you know what? They know how to check lot and block ownership of every other thing that happens in Howell. So I don't know why they didn't check this lot and block and find out that we actually didn't own it.
Wasn't convenient.
It wasn't convenient. Okay, so that is what social media is doing. Didn't fit their agenda, and it made you give up your night for no reason at all to come here for, I think, probably a
Well, the
pretty.
meat is all. It didn't make him waste his night.
Well-
What are you doing?
Well, you have 3 other questions, right? So, but again, this is part of the problem that we're having. So I very much appreciate you coming out and taking your time and asking the question, because that's how you get the right answer.
well, that project especially is very important. We're right on the border of it, and there's a lot of miscommunication, and,
There is no miscommunication. Here's the,
Well,
I know, but let me just, here's what exists today. There's an approval on that property. They can build that tomorrow. That approval has been there for an extended period of time.
Like 2002 or
Yes.
3.
They
Okay.
are requesting, as they're entitled to do, to come back and get an approval for something different, which me personally, and I think you heard here the other governing body members, do not support, but it's not within our purview to grant it or deny it. But that is the truth. That is the only truth that's going on relative to MGD/Fountains.
Exactly. I mean, I have seen the initial plans that they were going to present next week at the
Zoning board.
zoning board. And I have called in my engineer who worked on my project 15 years ago when we rebuilt the record store. And there's a lot of physical issues with that project that would directly impact my store, especially with the water flow from their parking lot and their driveways. They're talking about not a real detention basin, but just have the water go towards the back and
Let it run to
permeate.
you. They want to let it run to you.
And they're higher than my property, which means I cannot imagine that in any good rain, I'm going to have a lake in my backyard.
Can I ask you a question? Have you been noticed, being that you're so close to that property? Because when they seek a variance, they got the surrounding 250 feet.
They're playing a lot of games, I'll tell you that right now. We did not get the first letter until about 3 weeks ago. The letter specifically said 2 buildings. The plans have always been for 3 buildings on file with the engineering department. I'm not joking.
No.
No,
I'm listening to
that's
you.
why we're
The
asking.
letter said 2
Yeah.
buildings for 114 units. Up until that point, we were under the assumption it was going to be 3 buildings. When I went down to look at the plans, it's 3 buildings for 96 units.
Correct.
When the letter officially got out, and they got to us 10 days before, exactly 10 days, well, they mailed it 10 days before. We got it like on the Monday or so. I read it, it said 2 buildings, and I'm like, well, the plans don't show that.
That might be what they're, because right now they have on their plans
That may be
96.
what they're asking.
They're
But that's
proposing to
probably what
change.
they're proposing. That's,
Right.
So I went down to the township, I know that this past Friday at 4:30 would be the deadline for them to submit the correct plans for the November 16 planning board meeting.
Right,
Zoning
10
board.
days before the,
They're not on file, and they're still not on file. So I don't even know what they're going to actually present, if anything, next Monday.
you know what,
they may
I would,
postpone.
before I even comment on it, I would rather see what the notice that they sent out says,
Okay.
because then I would be able to tell you why it reads this way, or if it was just an error on their part, in which case they would have to renotice.
I've been in touch with Eileen. We've
Uh-huh.
been-
Rubiano?
Rubiano.
She's very, very helpful, by
Yeah,
the way.
she's actually out today, but
Yeah, she's actually really
Yeah.
very good, and, I looked at her and I said, where are the
I
plans?
don't think that that application is going to be heard.
Right, that's what she said. She said she thinks it's going to be withdrawn
Yeah.
at the present time, but we don't know, so we're not going to project, but
There's a lot of issues with that.
there's a lot of issues
yeah.
with it.
It could
Okay.
be that downward slope of,
But either way, you'll get notice.
Right.
And if, you could always check with Eileen.
Oh, I,
And ask,
believe me,
you know.
I'm very regular. In your presentation, you mentioned RFP. What does that stand for? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's a request for proposal.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you're asking about the property that we own?
Yes,
Again, it's tied to whether or not, it's all part of our affordable housing plan, which I think you're familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
And the council would have to make a decision as to whether or not that parcel should or may be included in the plan that's in the process of being revised and edited and submitted. And if it is, we would have to solicit for someone to come in and actually make that development happen if we so chose to add it.
Where exactly on Estelle Lane is that project?
Oh, I don't know what
Is
the
it
U-turn, what's
bordering-
the U-turn? Where's the
at
first?
the,
place?
at
It's
the,
at the-
It's on the west
Next-
side of Estelle.
it's on
Right
the
at-
west,
right at-
it's
right
on
at
the
the
west side of 9.
West side line, right at Estelle,
For the auto body
It's
shop?
on the west side of 9,
on the southbound side.
going
Yeah,
south
9
on
south.
9,
Oh, going south on 9,
going
okay.
south on 9 on the western side.
Southwest corner of the interchange, if you
Okay, I
call
know
it.
where that, okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I never heard of the Elan project on Squonkam Yellowbrook. Where
Oh,
exactly?
where you been?
Elon.
Elon, I'm
Elon.
sorry.
It's
Adelphia Road in Yellowbrook.
Adelphia Road in Yellowbrook?
And that was a lawsuit from 1997. It was a builder's remedy lawsuit that was instituted by those builders in 1997. Right next to the gun range, right across from the cement factory.
Okay,
And you probably heard me mention numerous times, I was raised in Manalapan, and they never used to show the homes on Union Hill Road on Wednesday nights or Sunday when the racetrack was open. So I don't think they're ever gonna show these homes if they ever build them while the gun range is open or the cement factory is pouring.
They currently have a court-mediated settlement agreement through the municipality that they have essentially an approval, and that approval includes single-family homes, a building for the affordable housing units, which is an apartment building, as well as a commercial component. The governing body has reviewed it and would continue to review it if they wanted to submit anything else for our consideration, but the reality is they could start building that tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But just so you know, it's been approved, just like,
No, I just never
yeah,
heard of
but
it, I just wanted to know
yeah,
where
but
it
just like the
was.
fountains, I'm
But-
surprised, because they both pretty much went hand in hand
It-
back then in the early 2000s. But, it's been approved for that long also.
They have an ordinance in place that we're required to do because of the settlement. They still have to present their plans
Yeah.
for approval.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, come on up. Hi, Elaine, how are you?
Good evening. Elaine Taylor, 1055 Maxim Southern Road. Of course, I'm here for the fountains, the MGD holding things, but I have another idea, which I always like to share with you and the council. What's popular right now is small houses, the small house movement. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not.
It's on a lot of TV shows.
On a lot of TV shows. And I think it would be wise if we could think about something like that, having a community like that. I think it would help with the COA situation.
Somebody asked about this
I
already.
I think COA, it's got to be a certain size, certain
Yeah.
number of bedrooms, so that the dimensions of those units that are affordable, designated as affordable, are regulated by the state.
And there's income limits. I'm in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
There's income limits depending on family size. You know?
Okay, skip the COA thing then. I just think that it would be a really good thing if our community could offer something like that, because there are a lot of people that need less space.
Yeah,
Great.
I can tell you that, and I don't remember how it happened, and it's been a little while, but I've been in the company of some other people who have asked some of those questions, and it came up during when our planner and our engineer and our attorney was in the same area. So I think it was at a planning board meeting. And someone has asked about these small houses, and the answer that I remember is you can't, they're mobile. You can't, and the ones that I've seen on those TV shows all are inherently mobile. They come on movable.
But that doesn't mean that we have to be mobile.
No,
You
but
know.
but I think it's those reasons that don't allow them to fit into a planning and zoning model, and therefore don't allow the municipality to be able to support them on a program basis. So if they comply with current ordinances, calling them a mobile thing or not calling them something mobile, they can do that. But to make that a program thing and get it into our land use laws, I don't think we're able to do that.
And Elaine, I'll just share one other thing with you, because we did have this conversation. So everything is market-driven, and it has to be conducive for the developers that they feel they could market that. Interestingly, the millennium generation, and what we're finding out is that people want apartments. Apartments are in high demand right now. People are shying away from home ownership. The young generation now don't want to make that investment in housing. They don't feel it's a good investment for them. So that's why we are seeing, quite frankly, not only in Howell, but in a lot of towns, developers want to build apartments. That is where the people want to go to. There are actually waiting lists for groups, for people, even seniors now. They don't want to maintain the backyard, the front yard. They are moving into apartments. So, good idea, but it's just not marketable. The developers won't build it because it's not going to bring them the people to sell. And we're dealing with an issue throughout this state because apartments are more affordable than houses, the boom of apartments. And that's the fact.
So why couldn't we put it out there and do a study, or
It's the
just...
cost, Elaine, and
These studies have been done. This is all documented. This is all, there is documentation out there that shows what the housing market.
No, I'm talking about people that, I'm not talking about the builders. We all know that builders just want to make money. I understand that. I'm talking about people, young people that need a little space. They don't need to spend a lot of money.
They want 1, 2-bedroom apartments. That's high in demand. 3-bedroom apartments are in high demand. It's really the 1 and 2 bedrooms, and that's what they're proposing. You know, everybody talks about all these school children. It's just not a fact. You know, if you look at a project like Vandera, you know, 220 apartments, that's producing less than 70 children, 65 children, and the reason why is it's the bedroom ratio. People want 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, and
All the studies show that there's a major demographic shift. The paradigm is changing completely for the millennials.
thank you.
According to every study that's out, and Deputy Mayor is absolutely right. I mean, the times they are changing, and this is one of the aspects that is now personified in
And it's the size of lots and how much land cost. I mean, when you got a building lot that costs you $120,000, is it cost efficient for you to put up a 1,500 square foot home that you can only sell for $250,000 that costs you $220 to build? Or do you make it a 3,000 square foot home, that extra 1,500 square foot only costs you another $70,000, but you could sell it for $500? I
I'm
mean,
not
it is a,
talking about that.
what?
I'm talking about little houses.
No, but that's why,
yeah, but-
that's why they won't do it.
But it ties together. So,
Yeah.
So if there was a market for what you're proposing, it would come in from that side. It would come in from developers that would want to buy the land to do it. It would come in from manufacturers that would be able to sell them, like log home cabins you see on the sides of the interstate. That's how it's driven. That's how those log cabin models get put at those intersections on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, because that's where people want to go to build that log cabin. We don't have that group of people that does that market analysis to say that that's something that people who want to move to this area would actually want to live in. It's just not there.
If they could build 3 to the acre, there's a development over in Manalapan called Buck's Head, right down by Raceway Park. They're about 1,200 square foot homes on like 50 by 50 lots. Well, if a builder could build 4 of them to an acre, or 3 of them to an acre, they would, because the land only cost them $30,000 per lot. But when the land's costing them $120,000 a building lot, they have to make money. They're not going to do it just because somebody wants them to. They built to make
I understand
money.
what you're saying. But I'm talking here, you have land that you're talking about for COA. I understand that you're thinking about that for COA. But if you have other land available that you could build little houses on, and if there were people interested in becoming part of that community, then it would be a good thing for the community.
It would be, but the if is whether the developers want to do it, because the township's not building those houses. It's
No,
it's
I
an
understand.
entity,
You would
right?
have to find a very progressive thinking and developer to work with something like that. Absolutely.
I think it would, and again, I'm not trying to sound dismissive, because it really doesn't matter whether.
I'm just trying to get it out to the
No,
world.
listen, whether you think it's a great idea or I think it's a great idea is almost irrelevant, because it matters what the outside people that would actually build it, do it, and unfortunately make money off of it, what they think. And if it ain't happening, you and I could think it's the greatest idea in the world, and it's just not going to happen.
Well, I'm here to ask the public, if you are interested in that,
Yeah.
talk to our mayor and council, to our manager,
But Elaine,
and
I
put the
mean,
word out there.
Watching those shows, it's always a motivation from the individual. It's not like a program that's developed by a municipality. It's always the individual who wants to build a tiny house and find a proper lot in which to move the house. And it's not a concerted effort or program. It seems that there's an individual motivation to take that initiative and to get the tiny house, build the tiny house, construct the tiny house. There doesn't seem to be a massive appeal or a massive movement to do that on a large scale. From what I've seen from watching those programs.
I understand. I don't watch a lot of those programs, I just know people
No,
that
it's,
do
listen,
it.
it's,
And-
you got an idea, and it doesn't sound like a bad idea on paper. I just don't think it matches up
Well,
with.
finances, I know the finance thing is.
I went out of my 3,000 square foot home. I got no kids home no more. Well, I don't need a built-in pool, 3,000 square foot house. My taxes are $18,000. I was yelling at Greg earlier this morning.
Everybody's downsizing.
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
Turning away.
Including the new
deputy mayor-
generation, my kids. They don't want houses. They want apartments.
you know,
You know, they like this new,
Like my daughter lives in Voorhees.
thank you.
In 500 apartments, Olympic-sized swimming pool, restaurants under 2 of the buildings, cleaners, breakfast place, a workout,
Well,
a couple workout places.
And you know where they're
Beautiful place to
getting, and
live.
you know where they're getting the idea for that? Because that's the type of residential units that are being built at schools.
Listen, I would love to live there.
It's crazy.
They
Pear
want to
Village.
build it in Manalapan. They want
Which
to build
is
one of those
occupied
places in
mostly by
Manalapan,
Muslims.
and the people are revolted against it. I would love, me personally, let me have the pool that I can go down to that I don't have to clean, open, or put the chemicals in.
But you
Let
know,
me go down to the restaurant when my lovely bride is out at night, have a bite to eat, have a beer, and watch the game with some
I'd
of
just
the people
like to
from
say
town.
one more thing, that is all good for those that can afford it. There are a lot of people that cannot afford it.
For what?
Can, an apartment that
What
you were
did you,
just,
what do you think? You're gonna build houses that people can live in for $800 a month? Those days left unless you wanna go to Iowa.
No, but I know what you're
I
getting
don't
at.
think so.
No,
Oh, they
but,
left in New
but
Jersey.
I do watch those shows. Those little homes, they're not cheap little homes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're $50,000, $70,000 homes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where it kind of gets
But then,
unrealistic.
okay, all right.
But I appreciate you bringing it up.
And, you know, it's out in the universe now.
Little John
Yeah, no, that's great, thank you.
Little big houses for you and me.
I saw somebody's hand up in the back.
Little ditty about Jack.
Come on up. It was the little homes? Oh. I see, I knew I was going to get you to come up here.
It was answered anyway, but I'll just come up and speak. Thank you. My name is Jonathan Morath from 21 Nate Lane. I was just going to ask questions concerning I was reading some articles concerning the land donation of the fountains back in 2008.
Right.
Where the ordinance was passed. And I was just here to ask and get clarification on that.
I think,
And I think it was
yeah,
answered,
I
so-
think you were one of the residents that spoke at one of the prior meetings as well, right?
Well, I spoke at the West Farm just with about the conservation plan.
Oh, okay. I remember your address, that's why.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
yes, several weeks ago.
Yep,
But this question was answered, so I just wanted to, that's all.
We did everything we could. We were chomping at the bit. We loved that they were gonna donate the land to the town. They were gonna get the write-off.
Yeah, because I saw there was an ordinance passed in July
Yeah.
of 2008, and I was just curious why.
We jumped all over it.
Why, how they have the land, and they were looking to build again, that's all.
yeah, that was why.
That's why, okay.
Yeah, we as a governing body back then jumped all over it.
An ordinance that was introduced, yeah.
We were ecstatic. We did everything we could to get it done.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much.